Here we go. Animatus, so someone's moved. His vicendi primitus. So by these firsts of conquering, or by these firsts of matters of winning, of victory, whose animatus, the miles soldiery, it's probably representing plural here, soldiers were moved, ad vicum macapracta pervenit. So they reached, sometimes when it has an ad, you might want to say they arrived at, the vicum, the village, and the village is called Macapraca, in which, in quo, semi-ruta mororum vestigia videbantur. So something was seen, the semi-ruta vestiges of a wall. Rooted means overturned and fallen down, so semi means so it's half. They saw the half fallen down vestiges of a wall there. Qui, which priscus temporibus, which in former times protenti, so it was stretched out in spatia longa, over a long space, to tuiri, to safeguard or look over, ab externus incursus, from external incursions, it is said, Assyria. So this was this long stretched out wall was to safeguard Assyria from external incursions. Hink, so here, pars fluminus, part of the river, scinditur, it's cut up or divided. Largest agminibus of aquarum, with large columns or of waters. It wouldn't really be a column here, large rivulets or something, or smaller creeks of water. Ducans, which are leading. Ad tractus Babylonius interiors. 2 tracts, which are lands. Interior means interior land-wise. That's in apposition here, but you could put it in English as an of. Like the interior tracts of Babylon or something. Uzai, to the use, futura, agris, so it's going to be used in future for fields, agrises, and the civitabus circumjectus, and the city which is thrown up around these rivers of water. Another place, nomine Narmaka, by the name of Narmalakala or something, quad, which Fluvius Regum, which is interpreted or called the King Fluvius, King of Rivers, or the River King, I suppose, whatever you want to call it, the King of Rivers. And it Praedomiats, it goes past Ctesiphonta, wherever the hell that is, Cuis, of which, in exordio, from where it begins, Turris surges Celsior in modum fare. So there are turrets, towers, which surge up, rise up, comparative, rather higher than or higher than, in modum, in the way of Pharos, which is a lighthouse, I would believe. Hank, so here, pedatus, 4th declension, infantry, corte adverb, cautiously, transivited, they crossed over. So omnis would be all of the infantry crossed over. A digestus pontibus. This means an arranged, coming from digero, an arranged bridge, or a bridge which has been arranged for this purpose. Okay. Daily Dictionary from digero, digestus, separated, divided, distributed, dissolved, dissipated, or arranged or classified. So here digero would mean the bridge was arranged, it couldn't have been dissipated. We have digero in the synonyms of Ramshorn, digere, ordine, and disponere. These synonyms. Digere, distributing properly so that which belongs together be placed together, and each group could be properly separated from the rest. Nice to know your synonyms. Where were we? The equite. So this is the horsemen and the cavalry, vero, but or moreover, these cavalry with the jumentus, pack animals. So the equites, the cavalry here are armati, plural, they're all armed. Clementiors, gurgites, fluminus, obliquati, transnurrent. So they swim across, these armed men, obliquo obliquely means going sideways across, where it's more clement. This is a comparative. Clement means the same sort of thing in English. Gurgites means usually whirlpools or flooding, so it's wherever there's an offshoot or where the flooding of the river would be. So it's shallower, fluminuses of the river. So these armed men cross that, and we have a correlative here, ali. So some, multitudine, by the multitude, subita, suddenly, petiti telorum hostem, they were sought or aimed at by the spears of the enemy. Those egressi, quasi-egressi, those who egressed, auxiliaries, ad cursorum levis. So these auxiliaries are very light armed. So they were running forwards, ad cursorum, and insistenting. So they're pressing on the necks of the fleeing, basically. It says fugentium cervicus. So these auxiliaries are lightly armed, and they ran at all these hostiliums, these enemies, pressing in the heart of them as they're fleeing. Leniatu, this is like the word for butchering, avium of birds. So they prostravarented these enemies. Means they cut them down. They were lying on the ground in the way of like ripping them to pieces in the way of birds, something like that it says. Quo negotio, starting with the ablative. With this business or trouble, I iter them. It was perfecto, so this business was completed. Likewise with a glorioso, gloriously. Ad civitatem Pisaborum ventumes. So it was came to this city, Pisaborum, or you might want to say we came to it. And here it's describing it's amplem and populosum. So it's ample and full of people, so it's big and full of people. Ambitu, basically on the two sides, insularii, circumvallatum. So on both sides, around it is a rampart, basically, of this island. Insularis is an island. Cuis, demonstrative pronoun genitive, of which ob equitans, someone's riding a horse. Moena imperator, here's our nominative. The emperor was riding a horse, and around this wall of the town of this place, that's why that's a genitive, and the situm, and the placement or the situation. Obsidium omne cortella coapa. So he was beginning, he's obsidium, which is a besiegement of all of this. Cortella is a noun in the first declension, which means cautiously or carefully. Quasi, as if, or just as if. Sola formatum, by the dread alone, the opadanos, townspeople. A propugnandi, the gerund. So he would submotoris, this is a future, so he would remove any studium, which is a zeal. Propugnandi, propugning means fighting back. If it's got the pro, means to fight back. So he wanted to remove any zeal or eagerness they had of fighting back. Quibus per conloquia saepi temptatus. So quibus and temptatus means with them having tried through colloquias, conversations often, or discussions, cum nec promissus, when neither with promises, quisquam means anyone, did anyone, flectorentor, no one was turned, and nec with menace, neither with threats. So promises and threats didn't bend anyone. So scapitur, undertaken, was then the exordium, the beginning of an oppugnandi, the actual besiegement physically, and armatorum triplici corona circumdatus muris. And so there was a triplicate encirclement, corona, of armed men, circumdatus the muris, all around the walls, from primo die, from the beginning of the day, the first part of the day, ad usque, as far as noctis, as far as night time. They contested, they curtabatur. So initium, again, like with primos, the beginning of the day to the beginning of the night, they contested with missilebuses, which are things flying through the air. Tum defensors, then the defenders, praestantes, present participle, very outstanding, in animo, which is courage, and veribus, which is strength, Per the propugnia, which are the ramparts and the tops of the ramparts where they defend from, uniqui, from everywhere, panzus sicklius, they spread out some sort of hairy cloth, laxius rather loosely, quae, which the telorum impetus cohibit, so which checked or stopped the impetus or the force of these telorums. Telorums would be these missilebuses, so all the spears and stuff. They were obtectide, so they were covered up. Scutus with shields, textus, woven, most firm, that's a superlative, with vimine, that's some sort of vines or ossia or something, and crudorum tegorum densitate vestimus validissime, and they resisted with the most crudest of coverings, which were very dense cloth, which we see as like rawhide. Validissime is another adverb, means most strongly. They resisted. Nimirum, adverb, so obviously or very much like this. Faci omnia, the faces of all were just like they were made of ferria, which is iron. Quia, because lemonade, this is like lemonaded plates, if you've put lots of things and glued them together. Singulus membrum linamentus coherited, so these were very sticking, these laminated bits of these, which were like iron, as we saw, they were like rawhide stuck together. To each single linamentus, these is usually of cloth or something, to each part or covering of the members like your limbs, they were aptate, they were very well suited, they were apt to stick together, fido, with a lot of confidence, or trustworthily, fido operamento, very trustworthy operamento, which is a covering. The totem, speciem, so the whole appearance, hominis of a man was contegabanted, was covered up. So they'd eliminated all these little things together for protection in the way of armour. At eliquotens, and several times it looks like omnidae and indigene. Indigenous means they all come from the same place. They were all inhabitants of the same place. Here they are. What they're doing is potentes, which is present participle. They were seeking a colloquia, which is another conversation, with His Highness here, who was basically as a king and of their same country. Obnixe prequatum. So he's coming in close, but with probus. Remember, if it's got an R after the probus itself is good, and probris is a disgrace. So with convicis, which is insulting. So basically, they were seeking conversation, but when he came close, they said he was basically a disgrace, and they insulted him as he had bad fidem, fidem, bad trust. They're insistent that he had bad trust, and he was a desertorum, and he was a deserter. And the other word there is obnixe. Hac lenta cavalocian. They had a cavalier attitude, and it was slowly in the da maxima part, and the greatest part of the day, maxima part da, went along slow with this kind of cavalier behaviour. So several times they'd sought the conversation. He was a countryman and of the royal nature, and they'd done this very resolutely. Whenever he come near, they insulted him on having bad faith in the deserter. And so these cavalier behaviour went on, took up the great part of the day. Exempt means that, it was used up. Then the primo silent, the first silence tenor, first silence of the darkness comes. So it was now night time, and multiforms ad mota sunt machinae. So multifaceted machines were ad motate, were moved up. Ad means forwards. And qui, they began altitudine complanere the fossarum. So the depth of the fossa, which is the big ditch around or a moat, they began to complanere, to make it level or to fill it in. The end for the day.